Culture Master Race.
Does mother know you wear it for grace?
Home of all your pop culture needs. And here are your hosts, Aiden Munga and Brett Page.
Welcome back to the PCMR podcast. That is Pop Culture Master Race. We are here gathered to talk about one of the biggest movies of the year, one of the most anticipated movies of the year, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. Is it as bad as the critics are saying, or is it the masterpiece that the DC fans are so desperately crying out
to
tell you that it is?
Has really gotten people divided.
It is. It is a very divisive movie. And we are going to tell you what we think of it today. Probably the last place you'll hear. We're the last word. Never the first word, but we are definitely one of the last.
We have to have the last say.
Exactly. And we will tell you what we think of it. We will be doing spoilers, but first a non-spoiler section, just in case you're one of those few people who haven't seen it yet because of work reasons or you just don't care.
So many people have seen it. It's made so much money already.
It's already made upwards of $400 million, which is a stupendous amount of money.
Apparently it's like the biggest opening weekend of all time already.
Yeah, so, you know, whatever we say won't really affect the film, but, you know, maybe we're going to praise it. Maybe we're going to say it's crap. You don't know yet.
You don't know. You don't know.
You don't exactly know yet. Now, we'll get straight into it. We don't need to dilly-dally about it. So we find ourselves 18 months after the events of Man of Steel. Batman is a much more harsh and brutal character than we know him. Superman is trying to prove himself to be the hero that he believes himself to be to the rest of the world. But, you know, there's differing opinions. You have Lex Luthor is trying to manipulate the strings here and there in the background. And, you know, eventually it comes that Batman and Superman fight each other. But there's also bigger threats and nods to what's happening in Justice League. There's a lot going on in this movie.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it.
That's the best way I can describe like the plot to you without like revealing the, you know, major spoiler details.
Yeah. One would say there is too much going on.
Yeah, this is a very convoluted film. It starts off feeling a lot like a political thriller, but by the time we get to the third act, it's basically just a big old punch-on. So there's a lot of stuff supposedly happening, and the film wants you to take it very seriously.
But it's like, at the same time, it wants us to take it seriously, but superheroes are kind of meant to be fun.
Yeah, okay. You know, I can't even pretend. All right, let's just get into this.
Fucking all bets are off. Let's get into it.
I walked into the film. I was nervous. You know, I'd started to hear like the bad reviews, and I'm thinking, oh, you know, what's it going to be?
We saw it together. I drove him there the whole time. He was like, it'll be fine.
It'll be good. Yeah, it'll be good. I've wanted this film to be good. I've wanted a good DC Cinematic Universe to rival Marvel's. I don't need them to be the same thing. Let me just say that. I don't need them to be the same thing. I very much was hoping that they would do something different, but that it would be equally as good in a different way. I have a vested interest in this.
Very admirable to try and make something different, something new to what everyone's used to these days.
It is. And they don't need to do the same thing as Marvel. They can take themselves seriously. But when you walk out of a film and you are filled with nothing but disappointment, and the first thing you do, you walk into the film, you're wearing a Batman shirt.
I'm wearing a Batman hat.
If the first thing you do when you get home after seeing the film is take off the Batman shirt and put on an Iron Man shirt, this film severely disappointed me. And it, you know,
after the film finished, I turned to Aiden, as you often do when you go to movies with a friend, and he just looked at me in the eye and said, I hate this.
I did. And I know there's this like thing going on out there that critics and fans are somehow different people, and that, you know, if I hate the film, I must just be a Marvel fanboy. I like the DC universe. I like Batman. I like Superman. I love the Justice League cartoon. I love Justice League Unlimited. I love Batman the animated series. I've read heaps of Batman and Superman comics. I've read The Dark Knight Returns multiple times. I've even seen the animated film, which was really good. I quite liked it. I even like, to some degree, a lot of those new 52-based DC animated films that come out. I even just watched Justice League versus Teen Titans. It wasn't great, but I didn't mind it. You know, I gave it a pass. So the person who should have liked this film is me. I should have loved this film, and I didn't.
There's so much of this film just didn't make sense. So many things happened for no reason other than reasons.
And there's
plot reasons.
There's a lot of things, specific reasons why I didn't like it and why I did like it, that really we'd need to get into a spoiler section. And really, I want this non-spoiler section to be kind of quick because I really have a lot of things I want to say, a lot of specific things that I have problems with. So I have written out a little kind of like a non-spoiler kind of quick review for me of how I felt about it.
For one thing, I just want to say at least one thing that was a little bit of a saving grace was Ben Affleck's acting as Bruce Wayne was pretty
Ben
great.
Affleck as Bruce Wayne is, if there's one reason to see this movie, he does a tremendous job. There's a lot of
and that is one thing that's been
rage beneath the surface for him. Like he's, you know, even when he's trying to be like a playboy kind of drunk and he's trying that persona, just in his eyes, you could see that this is a deeply angry man.
Yeah. See, that is one thing that's undisputed. Even the people who hate this movie said, but Ben Affleck was great.
Yeah. So I've written it out on my phone just so I can, you know, say it kind of clearly. While the film contains a lot of strong artistic imagery, good performances by the supporting cast, and an excellent turn by Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne, the film betrays the hearts and morals of the characters in exchange for CGI violence that rings hollow and tiring. I came out of the theater feeling drained and disillusioned by the entire prospect of DC creating a universe. The first act sets up a mystery that, when revealed in the final act, feels both convoluted and annoyingly stupid. The titular fight is short, and after waiting 2 hours to see, feels underwhelming. Jesse Eisenberg is a weird choice for Lex Luthor.
Everyone said that since the casting was announced.
Playing it tick-ridden and cartoonish. More Riddler than Luthor. The ending is a CGI slugfest that is bereft of weight and ends with a very perplexing choice. I hated it.
That was really good. Like, I'll give you a clap for that. You should start writing a blog or some shit.
Yeah, that's... If I was to give it a rating, I would give it 4 out of 10 because there are some good things in here. Jeremy Irons as Alfred is really good. Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne gives a really good performance, even though the character does some things that I do not agree with that we'll get into soon.
That's more of a writer's thing than the actor's thing, though. So still,
and I feel Henry Cavill, once again, he's not a bad choice for Superman, but he has not given anything to do. And the writers and the director of this film do not like Superman. They don't know what to do with him.
I feel like Henry Cavill as Superman. Like, I actually had this same problem with him when he was in Man from U.N.C.L.E. That was it, right?
Yeah.
He seems that he doesn't have a lot of emotional range. Even when he's meant to be...
he doesn't.
He's meant to be sad or he's meant to be angry. He's still kind of acting the same way. And it's really confusing. It's just very small emotional range on him. He's a competent actor, but he needs to express emotions in his acting better than he has been.
He's very wooden, and I could see a lot of people placing the blame on him. And I still think there's something there to the man, and I feel like he could give a good performance, but he hasn't been given the option or the opportunity quite yet in these big budget movies like Man from U.N.C.L.E. or Man of Steel or this film to do anything.
Yeah, he needs like a good director like your Spielberg or your Scorsese just to really push him to really unlock his potential. I think that's just what he needs. Just one movie with a great director like that who can really unlock his potential.
Yeah, he needs something because he's not really bringing a lot to this film. I didn't mind the supporting cast. I didn't mind Scoot McNairy as the character. A character in the film who loses his legs and is an ex-employee of Wayne Enterprises. He was fine. I didn't mind Holly Hunter. She's previously played Elastigirl in The Incredibles. I didn't mind her kind of senator character, Senator Finch. I didn't mind Perry White. I didn't mind Amy Adams. She doesn't have a lot to do here, but I thought she's doing okay in the film.
What I kind of thought about Lois Lane in this film, she kind of floated in and out of relevance throughout the film. Like, there was parts where, like, what she was doing was relevant to the plot, and it seemed like there was other points where the only reason she was on screen was to have Lois Lane on screen.
It really was. Like, I would give the film a 4 out of 10. In many ways, it's definitely a better film than Fantastic Four. But where Fantastic Four, I didn't expect anything much going in. You know, they've fucked up their Fantastic Four twice already. It's not a property that I'm completely familiar with. I've read a few issues here and there of different comics where they pop up, and I'm always like, oh, okay, it's the Fantastic Four. Here, I have a vested interest in Batman. I like these characters. I like Batman. I like Superman. I like Wonder Woman. I like the DC universe. I think it's very interesting. There's a lot of interesting things you can do with it. And I just didn't care. Like, with all these Easter eggs, with all these little references and nods and things to all these different comics, I didn't care.
There was a lot of those little Easter eggs and little foreshadowing, whatever, felt forced as well. Like, we were introduced to, like, Cyborg and the Flash and Aquaman, that's it. And it was just so forced.
Yeah, we're going to get into how they're introduced in a second, but
personally,
if you've seen the film, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah. Personally, I'm going to give it a 4.5 because I don't think I quite hated it as much as you, but I definitely wouldn't see it again. Wasn't super enjoyable.
The only way I'd see it again is once the extended director's cut. Maybe that one will be better. It'll answer more of my questions because there's a lot of editing problems with this film, and maybe a director's cut will have a better flow to the film.
Yeah,
but there's still...
One of the first complaints I had when me and Aiden walked out was that was strange pacing. Everything happened in weird timing. The cuts were really strange. And honestly, I'm having trouble remembering what order the events happened in just because of how strange this pacing was.
If you did not care for the pacing in Man of Steel, you're not going to like it here. If it didn't bother you there, maybe you'll be okay here. But I feel like the problems are worse here than they were with Man of Steel.
It's like the pacing problems in Man of Steel enhanced. I definitely felt the pacing in Man of Steel was strange as well.
All right, so we're done. That you've gotten a general idea of how we feel about the film. We've got that's non-spoilers out the way. All right,
let's
spoilers.
Dive us deep into spoilers.
Batman has 2 rules. He doesn't kill. He doesn't use guns. In this film, he's using guns, and he's killing people.
No, there's no reason for it. It's not explained. It's just because he does.
It's not even like a moment between like Alfred and Bruce Wayne where Alfred's like asking him like, you've gone too far. You shouldn't be doing this. You know, I know you're upset about Robin dying. Like, oh, you know, in the trailers where you see that bit of like Robin and you're thinking like, oh, we're going to learn some more about Robin in this film. Maybe like, you know, a little conversation between Alfred and Bruce. No.
Nope.
Everything you see in the trailers, pretty much you know what happens in the film. That's the really big spoiler, is that you've already had the movie spoiled for you. Yeah, the only thing you haven't been spoiled is that Superman dies at the end.
Yeah. This is one of those movies where they put all of the best parts into the trailer. And we've said it before, if you've got your best parts of your movie, every best part of the movie in the trailer, it probably says something about the movie.
Now... with the final act, with Doomsday comes in, and it's... Can you explain Lex Luthor's plan to me? Can you explain what he was trying to do?
He was trying. I understand that he stole Clark Kent's mother, or kidnapped her, and he was pitching.
Yeah.
He told Superman that you have to go kill Batman, and then I'll give your mother back. That bit I understood, but then it was like, so then you have Doomsday to defeat Superman once he's already killed Batman?
So what's his plan once? So say that Superman killed Batman, brought him back the head of the Bat. What's his plan then?
To kill Superman with Doomsday, I think.
All right. So say Batman.
He was already created Doomsday, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So say Batman kills Superman. Who is going to stop Doomsday?
No one. But did
Yeah.
But the whole idea of Doomsday was for Superman to die against him anyway. So either way, Lex was creating Doomsday that he did, and he didn't think Doomsday would be defeated. So either way,
he had no plan to stop. You know,
like we're told that the reason he wants these guys dead is because they're dangerous, they're a threat to us, they're going to hurt innocent people. But
then he creates Doomsday.
Yeah, creating Doomsday goes completely against his apparent reasons for wanting them dead. So it really doesn't make sense why he's doing that.
And do you know a simple way to solve all of this like confusion we have of like what his plan is and what he's going to do with Doomsday? Why would he even create Doomsday in the first place? You know how you fix that? Lex Luthor doesn't create Doomsday. Instead, using Kryptonian technology, he creates his power armor that he has in the comics, the green and purple power armor. It's like kind of based on Zod's armor and kind of based on Kryptonian technology, or it's kind of biomechanical, and he wears it and he's able to go up against Superman.
That would have been good. That would be a better way.
Solves all of that third act problem right there with a simple thing of like, well, instead of, introducing this new villain in the last 40 minutes, just have our actual villain actually do something.
Villain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
solves all the fucking problems.
All throughout the film, I just didn't get Lex Luthor. Like, I got that he didn't like Superman because he's an alien, he can turn against us and kill us whenever he wants. I got that, but a lot of the other things he did was just so confusing and just so convoluted that it didn't make sense why he was doing it.
I'll give this to Eisenberg. He is trying really hard. He is trying really hard to do something with this character. Now, had he been playing the Riddler, I would have loved him. I would have thought, wow, what a great version of the Riddler we've gotten.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive that we get such a great Riddler. But this is not how Lex Luthor should be acting. The Lex Luthor that people want, it might not even be the first version we have in the comics, but is the Lex Luthor that people want is the businessman Lex Luthor, the smart Lex Luthor, the one that could become president in the DC universe. There is no fucking way that this Lex Luthor becomes president, is charismatic enough to become president.
He is erratic.
No fucking way.
He has weird tics. It's just
weird
his
little
whole
tics.
Personality is just it's not Lex Luthor. Like, I don't even read the comics.
No,
I'm
not.
just remembering from like the old Superman movies I've seen. This is not a Lex Luthor. And like there's still no doubt in my mind that Jesse Eisenberg is a good actor. It's just the way he acted this role.
He's trying really hard in this movie.
Yeah.
It's just he's not the right role for it. And I feel like this is all down to Zack Snyder. I do not care for this man's approach to the DC universe.
I got home from the movie. I posted a status on Facebook. I just said, I think someone really needs to sit Zack Snyder down and ask him what he's doing with these DC movies. And our friend Zach from Geeked Network, as you may remember, his comment on it was, I nominate Kevin Feige. So,
look, I don't even need him. He's busy enough. He's a Marvel boy. Let him do what he's doing. I don't need anyone from Marvel to jump ship and help DC out. What I need is for DC to actually use their actual DC writers that they have. Hell, get Bruce Timm. Bruce Timm knows the DC universe. He knows what the fuck he's doing. He helped craft Batman the animated series. He helped craft Superman the animated series. He helped craft the the best DC animated universe there ever was all thanks to Bruce Timm. All the best stuff comes from him. Should just get him in charge. But no, what you've done is you've put a man in charge who is more interested in showing beautiful artistic imagery instead of creating a cohesive story.
Yeah.
His idea of like what these characters should be doing is it's detrimental to the entire thing that they should be doing, which is creating a universe which is to rival Marvel, to show that we can do this differently. We can do this in a different way. Instead, what he's done is he's broken the universe already because he's killed Superman. Sure, he's going to come back because you see a little dirt rise off the coffin. He's going to come back. But at this point, it's like, why? Why would you kill him? That's such a... It's a bold choice. I'll give him that. But it's a dumb thing to do. No one ever wanted to adapt to the death of Superman. It's a dumb comic. No one wants to see it on screen. Yeah. It's dumb. And now we have seen it. No one wanted to, but okay. You make Batman a killer, which... If Batman kills people, why is the Joker still alive? Why are any of his villains still alive? You can't do anything with the character there because then he just has to go out and kill people. He's basically the Punisher now.
I feel one thing, like, you mentioned universe creating. I feel like a main problem I had, the whole movie felt like they were more concerned with setting up the Justice League than they were telling this story. It feels like they
weren't interested in telling this story at all. They were really interested, you know when so the way that they tease the Justice League in this movie is that Wonder Woman basically gets a press kit of what the upcoming movies are going to be, which they show in the film, like the little like clips and stuff, they show in the order of what those films are coming out. It's literally a press kit.
As I mentioned before in the non-spoiler section, so forced. It's like the writers for this movie sat down and like, okay, here's what the stuff for the future movies we need to put in, figure that out, then put some other shit around it. That's basically
the only
what this
one that's
movie
even
was.
Slightly organically placed into the film is the Flash, because we get the nightmare sequence, which just shows up out of nowhere. It's not.
That's one of the things that I hated the most. It came up, and I'm sure you saw my face. I was like, "What? What is happening?"
There's no like. You don't know what's going on for the first few seconds, so you're like, "Okay, I guess they're putting this scene here."
But like people then, like us who are familiar,
you're kind of weirded out because, all right, so this is like a nightmare scenario. Batman's using guns. Okay, so this is where things have gone like incredibly wrong. Like you've got, obviously, there's some kind of demons and stuff coming from the sky. There's cities wasted, and if you're familiar with DC Comics, you understand like, okay, this means that Darkseid has appeared. Those are parademons. Those are like his minions and stuff from Apocalypse, and he's pretty much turning Earth into a war planet.
Now I know. I didn't know that until just now.
Yeah, see, if you don't know what is going, if you don't know the DC universe, you're completely lost because they don't explain anything. They don't even call Wonder Woman by name. They don't even call her by her first name. It's just, Miss Prince in this one little bit. Like,
yeah. Well, I was about to say the exact same thing with Flash showing up with that dream sequence. I've watched the Flash TV series, so I was aware what he was doing was using the Speed Force to travel through time. I was aware that's what was happening. But people who aren't familiar with that would have no idea what was happening.
But if you aren't familiar with that, there's no explanation. And so, yeah, Flash just shows up and is like, "Oh, Lois is the key, I've come back too early. Oh, no, I need to warn you." And then he wakes up again because apparently it's a dream sequence within a dream sequence that's actually a premonition. No idea what the fuck was going on there. Also, even accounting for all those things, so Batman has had this like weird dream. He's like had this weird premonition thing. He's not entirely sure what it was. You have someone come out of a beam of light and tell you Lois is the key. You have to talk to Lois. Does at any point in the film, does Bruce Wayne even research or go and look for Lois Lane? No, he doesn't. Doesn't fucking do that.
No, I don't remember any of that happening.
No, because he doesn't. He doesn't fucking do that. So you have a Batman who isn't really a detective. He does some detective stuff. He does some.
Oh,
but
yeah.
he's not really a detective. He's not actually.
He hacks into Lex Luthor's hard drive.
Yeah. He's not really doing any detecting. He's not like trying to like go and figure out like where Clark Kent, lives. It's not trying to figure out if Superman is Clark Kent. Obviously, at some point, it's just assumed that they know who each other are, but it's never said. It's never quite clear that they know who each other.
It's never quite clear how they knew each other was each other.
No, there's a point where
like
Superman drops down out of the sky. It's just before they're about to fight, and he's like, "Bruce, I don't want to fight you." When does Superman figure out that Batman is Bruce Wayne? Is that ever said? Is that ever shown? No, it's just he just knows because obviously swaths of scenes were cut out of this film.
And the stupidest thing, if you ask me, Batman decides to stop killing Superman because both their mothers have the same name.
Yeah, this is the thing that has a lot of people tripped up. So the reason they start to fight is stupid. It could have been solved in like a second if they have a conversation. Or Superman has to go, it's like, okay, Lex Luthor has my mother. Could you please help me get her back?
See,
or even if he... Why does he even need Batman's help? Why can't he just go and rescue her himself? It's like, oh, you have my mother. Like, oh, well, I'll just go rescue her. Like... Like, he obviously knows where Lois Lane is at all times because, she can just be in Africa and then all of a sudden he's across the globe and he's, rescuing her.
Because reasons.
When Lex Luthor I'll just push Lois Lane off this building, Superman to just come in instantly and rescue her.
Because reasons.
So what's stopping him from going and rescuing his mother, just being like, oh, you've got my mother? Because reasons. Because reasons. Because he needs Batman. Because that's what the movie's about. Oh my god.
Because they have to fight somehow, don't they? Just so much. Exactly what I said before. So much stuff just happens for the sake of the plot. There's no explanation. It's just because the plot demanded it to be so.
There was a way to have them fight organically. There was a way to show why Batman, maybe in his later years, would be considering killing. You could have shown the progression from him being this kind of, vigilante who's going around, he's got a Robin, he's trying to fight crime. You could, even just a conversation, you could describe his descent into cruelty. But you don't. You have one little, trailer speech that Alfred gives, which is basically the thing you've already heard in the trailer. There's no real expansion on that. And there's no chance for Superman ever. Superman doesn't act like Superman in this film. Sure, he saves people, he does little things, but at no point is he inspiring.
No. Even in the real world, because Superman was one of the first superhero comics around.
He should be this inspiring figure that when you see him and when he speaks, you want to listen because he'll say something that, that's inspiring. I can aspire to be that. I can aspire to be as good and as compassionate as that person.
Well,
but no point is he like that in this film.
During World War II, they used I keep saying Batman. They used Superman to rally up people. We're going to win this war. Look, there's this amazing hero, Superman. Rally behind him. Even in the real world, Superman had that much of an influence, and so Superman can't even have that influence in the screen that he's on. How is he going to resonate?
Zack Snyder doesn't like him. Zack Snyder doesn't like Superman or most of the characters around him. Jimmy Olsen is in this film. And you're saying, oh, what's he do? What does Jimmy Olsen do? Oh, what does Jimmy Olsen do? He gets executed by terrorists. That's what he does. And that's Zack Snyder's idea of a fun little Easter egg. What this man's idea of fun is that he'll take a character that has had 70 years of stories and things to do in the DC universe. He's even a really popular and big character on the Supergirl show on CBS. And what he'll do is he'll take him, show him for a couple of seconds, and then have him executed by terrorists.
Because
see what this movie is doing to me? I'm
Don't
dying.
die. Don't die like Superman did.
This movie is my kryptonite.
It was just so dumb.
And I'm sick and tired of DC fans going out there and saying that, you know, if you didn't like this film, maybe you just want some Marvel stuff. You just want some fun kiddie stuff. You know, you're not a true DC fan. True DC fans will get it. I get every dumb little reference in this movie. I get that it was a reference, you know, Darkseid is coming. I get that, you know, haha, joke's on you. That's a reference to the Joker. I get it. All right? I get all these dumb little fucking references. That doesn't make the movie any fucking good.
I just feel like all these DC fans, all these Batman fans, and Superman fans, they're just not willing to admit that it's not good. They wanted it to be good for so long. They just wanted it to be good so much. Their brain is just telling them, it was good. It was good.
It's just a little convoluted. It's still good. It's still good. He's just killing people. It's still good. It's still good.
People just aren't willing to admit what it is, and
all right, I've talked about a lot of the stuff I don't like and stuff that I find confusing in this film. I will say I like the costumes.
Yeah,
I like Batman's costumes in this film. I thought they're really, really good. It's really comic accurate. You know, I like the gray on black.
Jeremy Irons as Alfred, he was pretty good too. Like he had a few...
I liked him at first, but as the film went on, he kind of had the same kind of delivery for every line, where it's he'll say something and then he'll mutter under his breath. It's like, sassy thing, Mr. Wayne, mutter, 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 and it's like. At first, you're like, "Oh, good, we're getting a sassy Alfred," and then it's the same thing over and over and over again.
At first, you had a little chuckle when he did that little one-liner thing.
Yeah.
But he did it at least half a dozen times in the movie. It's like, there's no getting old by now.
And another thing, like over the weekend, you know, I've had some time to process this movie and really think about why all of these things really annoy me. Is that behind us when we were seeing the film was a child, I'm pretty sure, or children.
Yeah, and family behind us.
You know, at first they're like, you know, they're excited. They're super excited to see this movie. You know, it's Batman and Superman. These are super important characters to kids. And the longer the movie went on, the quieter the child got and the less excited they sounded. Until I think at a point, I think they left the film halfway through. I can't quite remember, but
I wasn't paying that much attention.
I feel like they did. It felt like they just shrunk into their seat, and it felt like, because this isn't a film for children. You can't take your children to see this film because Batman is a murderer, straight up murderer. Superman is a murderer. There's a point, like right at the start, the first thing Superman does in this film is send a man through 6 walls. Now, to be fair, the man has a gun to Lois Lane's head, and he
may have had it coming.
He is a terrorist, but there were millions of ways Superman could have resolved that situation without killing him. Like, he could have melted the gun in his hand. He has heat ray vision, you know, fucking melt the gun in his hand or make it so hot, he drops it. Or, you know, he can move faster than sound, than the speed of light almost.
Dude, in one of the movies, he flew around the world so fast, it turned the other fucking direction. And
like, I'm not even going to count that because that's the...
I know, that was stupid. That was such a stupid scene that he flew around, turned the world backwards, time went back, whatever. That was stupid.
It's a different Superman. I'm not even going to include that. But just, yeah, he comes in, like, the first thing we see of him, he's breaking the sound barrier. You hear him before he comes in because there's this cracking, booming sound, and you see, like, the wake of, like, the sound that he is just, the sound wake thing, that he is like a jet engine coming in. You know, he could move really fast and take the gun from the guy and then, like, you know, stop him. But, you know, instead he pushes him through 3 walls because this isn't Superman. This is a character who they've built up that has these... He's not inspiring. He just has all these rage issues that there's no real difference between Batman and Superman, where, like, you know, Superman comes in, he's trying to say, like, Batman's a vigilante. He's hurting people's human rights and stuff. You threw a guy, a normal person, a normal human being, no super enhancements or anything, through at least 3 walls. You're violating people's human rights.
Yeah, well, that was Batman's problem with Superman through the whole movie. And, like, I'll admit, I was sympathizing with Bruce Wayne because I'm like, well, you're right. He's not caring for human life. And
I would sympathize more with this Bruce Wayne if they didn't make him a goddamn murderer.
Yeah, see, that's one thing that was kind of contradictory about this character, that he hated Superman because Superman was killing people, but he was doing the same thing himself.
Same goddamn thing, just going around murdering people. And then I hate Zack Snyder's little thing because he's like, oh, it's not really murder, it's manslaughter. He's like, if he's shooting at the car, that doesn't count, right? If you shoot at a car because you know someone is in there and you're trying to kill them, that's murder. He murders people in this film.
It's murder.
It's not goddamn manslaughter.
Manslaughter is when your actions that you know you did kill someone, but you weren't intending to kill them. That is manslaughter. He's
a murderer.
Shooting
He's the Punisher
at this
in
car
this film.
to kill people. It's not a Batman that we're familiar with. It's not a Batman.
And I don't mind different
interpretations
of Batman, but
see, if you're gonna take a character like Batman, a character that so many people are familiar with, yeah, you can take a few creative liberties, but you gotta
like we've
still
seen very
make
different
him that
creative
character.
versions of Batman. Like Christian Bale's Batman is very different to this Batman. Michael Keaton's Batman is very different to this Batman. There can be different variations and different interpretations of the character. You can do that. But when you're proposing to make comic Batman, when you're proposing like, oh, this is going to be the most comic accurate Batman that there ever was, and he's going to be great. Actually make comic accurate Batman. Actually make a character that, you know, has a hard rule that he lives by. He's like, I am not a murderer. My parents were murdered. I will never be that person. I, will not use guns. Guns are the weapon of the enemy. If he's so enamored with The Dark Knight Returns, why can't he remember like that speech he gives in The Dark Knight Returns where it's like, these are the weapons of the enemy. We will not use them. We will not need them. And he breaks a gun in half. This Batman doesn't have that rule. No.
It's not even explained.
No, there's no explanation for why he's a murderer now. He just is.
What was there any other saving graces other than some good performances and some good visuals and some good costuming? What were some other saving graces? Pick ourselves up a little.
I can't think of any. I'm trying to, because I look at that Wonder Woman picture where it's like her in like olden times, and they've got that really loud theme she has where it's like that thing that's going on. And the longer it goes on, all of the music in this film is so abrasive and just hits you over the head, and it's so loud. And
but yeah, God forbid we have fun
whose theme I really hated? Lex
one?
Luthor's theme. This film is trying to take itself so seriously. It's trying to propose itself like this is like a political thriller, or like we're trying to show you like, oh, like these are people in the real world. There's real world consequences, and you have a theme song for Lex Luthor, which is basically like an old school, old timey mustache twirling villain theme. It's like, do, 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 do. It's like, you expect me to take this seriously? You have sat here and tried to say like, oh, there's real world, there's terrorists, and there's government conspiracies and stuff, and Lex Luthor's trying to get like an import license so he can get the kryptonite to America. Ooh, it's all serious and dark and adult, and we want you to take us seriously. And then you have his theme song, which is basically I'm a mustache twirling villain, ha. Yeah, Superman, I'll get you, you scum.
Yes. So
hey, boyo.
Some questionable soundtrack choices.
And Batman's theme is basically just basically like a psycho thing, but really slowed down and kind of louder. So instead of being a it's Oh.
You should make soundtracks for movies just with your voice doing that.
It's just so... The soundtrack is real dumb. This is one of Hans Zimmer's worst scores. Like, the only song that's kind of good is the reprisal of, like, the Man of Steel theme, where it's like the... I really like that score. That's fine. It made for one of my favorite trailers ever, which is the Man of Steel trailer, which... Even though I have problems with that movie, it's one of my favorite trailers. Superman gets great trailers, doesn't get great movies.
Yeah. I don't even remember the Man of Steel trailer, to be honest. God,
it's real good. You should watch it again. It's
Yeah.
it's inspiring. It's more inspiring than
watched
anything in this movie.
Maybe I will.
And I'm trying to think of what else is just kind of dumb. So, all right. So at the end, you have Superman he dies heroically. He's fighting Doomsday. He gets stabbed through the chest. It's just a horrific image to have children see. Because
it didn't have to happen because the kryptonite spear that he was holding was making him weak. Surely he could have been like, hey, Batman, this thing kills me. Can you stab him?
Not even that.
Made it.
Wonder Woman, the person who's there, actually really like cracking into Doomsday and like taking him down, fighting really cleverly. She's obviously very like efficient with weapons and like, she'd probably be really good with a spear. Why not give it to her? Or even beyond that, beyond just, giving it to the person who's obviously, could handle a spear. Throw it, you fucking idiot.
Meant for. But, like, if they did want to kill Superman off, they could have done it better ways than what they did, because it was just, there was no reason for him to do that, fly into Doomsday with the spear. There was no reason for that, other than to kill him off.
Also, I think I'm tired of Dark Knight Returns imagery, because we've just had it in The Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight Rises took a lot of influence from The Dark Knight Returns, and other things. But this film, again, we're seeing more Dark Knight Returns, and I'm sick of it. Like, that's 2 films in a row we've seen Batman where it's all The Dark Knight Returns. Like, there are more interesting Batman stories that you can draw influence from than The Dark Knight Returns. Frank Miller isn't the only one who's written Batman. Scott Snyder's current run is great. Millions of other people have done great stuff with Batman. You don't need to just use The Dark Knight Returns.
Zack Snyder probably just looked at The Dark Knight Rises, and it was a good film. Like, it had its problems, but all films do. That was a great movie.
I'm not even talking about the film. I'm talking about the goddamn comic book.
Yeah, so I know that, but maybe he looked and said, well, he used this source material and made a good movie. Maybe if I use the same source material, I'll make a good movie. Maybe.
He's an idiot, is what he is. He's goddamn... He doesn't know what a story is. He doesn't know how to construct a story. A good story is this happens, so this happens, and therefore this happens. A bad story is this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. That's a bad story.
Yeah, because it's just
all
over the place.
One of the first things you learn in like film school or any kind of writing class. It's like beginning, middle, end. You don't just have like this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. It's this happens, so this happens, and therefore this happens. Things have reasons for happening. This stuff just happens, and there's so many dream sequences. Every couple of scenes, it's like, and then another dream sequence, and then another dream sequence.
Yeah. See, that's like what I said before. Like, everything just happens. There's no definitive, beginning, middle, and end.
Things just happen because he thinks it'll look cool.
Yeah. As I said, that's why I'm having trouble remembering what order things happened in, because these things could have happened in any order.
They could have happened in any order.
Because there was no definitive beginning, middle, and end. Well, there was the definitive end. You could tell, like, that third act was when they started fighting each other, then Doomsday. That was obviously the end, but the beginning and middle was so mixed up and confusing as to what happened when, what happened because of what. It's just confusing.
I really wanted to like this film. I went into the film, I really wanted to like it. And I want there to be like a big, I wanted to be able to look forward to all these upcoming DC films. But if they're going to continue to place their bets and like rally around Zack Snyder as like their creative influence for like what's going to happen in the upcoming like films. If they still want to have him as director of Justice League, I might be out. I might be done. I don't care for his vision for the future. I don't care for his visions for the film. He doesn't know how to tell a story. He knows how to visually show scenes, but he doesn't know how to piece them together.
And the sad thing is, with the amount of money this movie's already made, it's unlikely they're going to change.
It's too late for them to change. Suicide Squad is already finished and done. It's going to come out in August. Wonder Woman is already wrapped shooting. They're editing that already. Justice League starts shooting next month. It's already too late for them to change. And this is the groundwork of what they're basing their entire universe off. And it's not solid. It's not a good place to start your story. It's like you just...
Well, maybe the following ones will make less money because a lot of people like us might be out. Like, I'm still going to see Suicide Squad. I'm still going to see that.
If Suicide Squad is good, then I might be in again because I might be like, all right, obviously Zack Snyder is a problem. It's confirmed what I thought. If we have a different director in here, this universe can be interesting, and I can be interested in these kind of characters. Suicide Squad looks like it's going to be a little bit more fun. It looks like, at least at this stage, that it'll be at least a little bit more cohesive. Like David Ayer, I like David Ayer films, and I'm more interested to see what he does because he knows how to get a good performance out of people. He knows how to construct a scene. He knows how to have a beginning, middle, and end. So the film could be good. And I'm interested to see in Patty Jenkins' version of Wonder Woman. It could be good. It's very much a kind of a Thor meets Captain America kind of vibe. Like, I felt that a lot, especially in like that little like that old image you see where it's like it's got that really loud theme song like it's like she's with her like little crew and it's kind of all like racially diverse. She's got like a Native American person, a black person, and I think a little Frenchman or something, and Steve Trevor and her in the middle. And it looks a lot like if Thor was a woman but was also Captain America at the same time. It looks like they're going for that kind of a vibe, which could be interesting. I like Thor. I like Captain America. I like women. If you combine them all into one, that could be good.
Yeah. So let's begin to wrap
I definitely
this
wanted
up.
to watch it more than I wanted to watch this film. Yeah. Like when that image showed up, I was like, can I just watch that instead? That seems more interesting than this.
Okay. So let's begin to wrap this up. Just definitive, what is the one worst thing that you had the biggest problem with in this film? Biggest problem. We've talked about it a lot, but what is your biggest gripe with it?
Batman killing people. I felt that's when the film lost me. Up until that point, I was kind of with it. I was kind of like, okay, this is kind of this is weird. This is I'm kind of on it. That's the point where the film lost me, where like Batman is like he's chasing him down in the Batmobile, and I'm like, oh, okay, so we've got a minigun here. This guy's shooting a minigun at the Batmobile. Like obviously the bullets are just deflecting off, so Batman's not in real danger here, but how's he gonna stop this guy? He's got to like shoot some gas into the car? Has he got like an EMP gun or something? Is he got to like shoot some kind of like a rubber thing at the minigun and like disable it? No, just kills him. That's when the film lost me. That's when I was like, oh, this person's a psychopath.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's definitely on my list. I'd still say because this is the first thing I said to you after the film, just the pacing. It was the one thing that just fucking confused the hell out of me. It was the one thing that got me like, why? This is not how you construct a story. That's my biggest gripe. Just this strange pacing, which led to terrible storytelling.
Also, before this film, I was saying like at least like that one scene where it's like he punches up people. And like it's Batman versus like a room of people. At least that scene would be good. If I'd just seen that scene by itself, in the trailer, I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is the Batman I want to see. But by the time you get to it, like just waiting 2 hours of nothing happening, you're so kind of tired and bored by that point that the scene isn't impressive anymore. And it's just kind of like, oh, okay, I guess that happened now. I thought that might happen earlier, but okay. It's and then the weird attempt at a joke where it's like, oh, I'm a friend of your son's, and she's like, oh yeah, I know, like, from the Cape. Like that scene in itself is okay, but when you think about the implication behind it, is like, I'm a friend of your son, who beside the fact that I spent 2 years plotting to murder him and only just decided not to murder him because you have the same name as my mom. Do you want to be my new mother, Martha?
Oh, Jesus Christ. You're my mommy now.
So fucking dumb. Oh.
Okay, well, I think we've complained about all we can complain about in this movie. We've given credit where credit is due. There was some all right parts in it, and we did talk about that. So,
and I thought the little bits besides the Aquaman, like the little Justice League hints besides the Aquaman one, were fine. Like I thought Ezra Miller was kind of weirdly, even at that little scene where he's like just kind of like looking at milk and he looks kind of like a homeless person, and he stops like a robbery in a liquor store. I thought that was kind of neat. I kind of like that idea that like the Flash is kind of like just a guy and he's like, oh goddamn criminals, stop you, and then goes back to doing what he's doing. I thought that was kind of cool. I thought the little like body horror thing with Cyborg and the mother box, I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't think you needed to cast anyone to play. Like, years ago when they cast like who was going to be Cyborg, I was thinking like, oh, what's this guy going to do in the film? He doesn't do anything. You barely even recognize that it's that actor because he's just like a torso and a head, even half a torso. So they didn't even really need to cast anyone for that yet. Obviously, they're just about to shoot Justice League, so yeah, they need him for that. But in the film, you don't need him to be cast. Aquaman is kind of like that scene in the first Zoolander where he's like being a mermaid and he's just kind of like, ooh. He kind of appears and he looks like he's holding his breath. He's kind of like weirdly swimming and it's like, And it's just like this really weirdly long shot of him like, what's this? And then he stabs it and he zooms away in the water. It's just... It looked kind of dumb. And like with all that kind of build up to be like, oh, what's Jason Momoa going to do in this film? Nothing? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're cool with that. Nothing.
It's just real dumb. It's not how... It's not how I would have constructed it. It's not what I would have done. Which, I don't need it to be what I would have done. It's just... It didn't work for me.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's our opinions on Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice. It wasn't the best.
It left me feeling defeated and disillusioned.
Yeah. So that's just about the end of this episode. Unless there's any other things you want to add in.
No, look, if you want to disagree with us, send us an email, pcmrpodcast@gmail.com. You can also contact us on Facebook and Twitter. We have facebook.com/PCMRpodcast. We're on Twitter @PCMRpodcast. If you want to tell me directly, you can tell me that on my personal Twitter account @AidensVlog, AIDANSVLOG. Or yours.
I'm at meman125. Tweet at me. Let's have a fisticuffs.
Yeah, you can be him. You can tell me why I'm wrong or tell me why I'm right. I don't care. Just, I really wish I liked it. I really did.
Yes, this is a sad day.
Yeah, if you wanna help us out, if you liked this review, you give us a 5-star review on iTunes.
Yes.
Leave us a little
do.
comment section what you thought of how we felt about the film. On SoundCloud, give us a heart, give us a follow, whatever you do on SoundCloud. I don't know how it works. We just use it.
Share it around wherever you can share it around.
Yeah, this will be on YouTube. Give it a like and subscribe. Tell us why we're so dumb and I'm an idiot Marvel fanboy in the comments or something like that.
Tell us how awesome our shirts are. Just saying.
Yeah. Or if you hate the shirts, I don't know. Just doesn't matter. Nothing matters anymore. World is darkness. Ugh.
Leave some love for Aiden because he's still struggling. We have to rally together and get behind our pal Aiden here.
Why should I go on? Why? Let me know in the comment section down below. Next week we'll be back to reviews and trailers. I'm sure there's a lot we've not talked about that we'll talk about soon.
Next week will be a nerdy news episode.
Mm-hmm. And then after that, who knows? I'm not entirely sure what's coming out soon. Probably some good stuff, I hope.
Maybe 10 Cloverfield Lane. Have you heard of that one? The new J.J. Abrams film? I've heard it's good.
Oh, the Cloverfield Lane. We're a bit behind on that. Well, I might see it, but I don't think it's too late for us to give like a review on that.
I don't know when it came out.
There'll be something new coming out. We'll have something to talk about.
Yeah, that's 2 weeks away. We got next week's nerdy news first.
Yeah. So until then, I have been a very defeated Aiden.
I am trying to stay hopeful, Brett.
Tell me, do you bleed? You will. What a dumb fucking line. Ugh. See you next time.
Farewell.